We'll just go around the table and introduce ourselves. I'm Eric Rockwell from the 3rd District and Chairman.
Good evening, John Delaney, District 5.
Edward Kramer in District 7.
Lisa Belcastro, District 2.
Michelle Davis, District 1.
Anyone online?
Okay. First order of business is approval of the minutes from the April 3rd meeting. You all have them there at your chair, and they were sent out previously.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 The minutes are accepted. All right, the next thing I want to do before we start discussing a draft plan, which I'll make tons of disclaimers about when I introduce it, is we want to briefly discuss, we've gotten a request from the public to be able to add slides or other visual material at the virtual public hearing. And a couple of us responded online to that, but we haven't fully discussed it and we haven't voted on it as a commission. So how do the rest of the commission feel about that?
Can we share some intelligence? I haven't had the time to review an email today, so I can make an informed decision. Thank you.
I'll let Mr. Boswick.
Hello? Okay. So as you may recall from the email I sent everyone this afternoon, it's not terribly complicated. It's just a matter of, well, videos are complicated. I would suggest not allowing videos because we can't guarantee that the sound of a video will come through, because we've tried to do videos in at other times, and for whatever reason the sound does not come out, because I guess the sound is being dedicated to the sound that's being generated by the meeting itself. So when we've tried to do videos, the sound doesn't come out. But as far as slides, we can certainly do slides. What it entails is Ms. Belcastro is basically running the controls of the meeting because she's the host. So she's taking care of everything during the meeting, which is more than maybe it just seems. And when someone testifies, she is elevating that person from a attendee to a panelist. First, she has to find them, then elevate them, and then she will then have to, in order to accommodate slides, make them a presenter, which she's also the presenter as the host. And then when that person is finished their testimony and their slides, Chris then essentially takes back the presenter role and then puts the person back into the attendee list, and then goes and finds the next person to testify who is an attendee, and elevates them to a panelist, in which case they can give their testimony, and then so on and so forth. So it just really just adds another element or step to Chris's process of elevating a attendee to a panelist and then putting them back as an attendee and then finding another attendee to be a panelist. It's not a big deal. The only thing that would create a difficulty is if everybody wanted to do this. So we really don't have a problem with it. In fact, the only way for the slides to be seen besides yourselves is for it to be shared. If we had the slides hard copy, we could certainly distribute them to the commission members, but no one on the screens would see them. So that's kind of the give and take on that.
If you keep it brief, Ms. Ricketts, yes.
Ms. Richards, you can stay where you are. I'll give you this.
Thank you very much for considering my request. And it came about as a result of comments from Dr. Davis and from Cordell to say that sometimes visual is easier to absorb than a lot of written material. So I would plan to respect the time allotted to speakers. I would make the slides available to Chris in whatever format is required, and I'm only envisioning a couple of PowerPoint slides.
Okay, thank you.
Technical aspects. Sending the slides in advance would be great. However, it's still, council members do this to me. I'm having to make sure, because if you're not the only person asking to put slides up, let's say it's multiple people who are asking to put slides up. Now I have to coordinate pulling a slideshow that was sent to me in advance and then putting it with that person so that when that person signs up, gets up to speak, I have to find that slideshow or PowerPoint presentation and now share that, which is fine. I just don't want to share the wrong PowerPoint with the wrong person who's testifying, if that makes sense. And it's all doable. I'm just explaining the components to it.
You can't share, I can't share the screen, or you can't share the screen, so I can.
You were saying to send them in advance. I thought you meant for me to share on the screen, which then I would not have to make you a presenter, but then I would still be the one displaying it. I have to make sure it has the right PowerPoint or the right slideshow with the right person testifying.
Yeah.
Or if you can share a screen, it's easy for me to do it that way. I just thought you would prefer it. Whichever way you prefer.
So I think there might, it sounds like there's a couple of ways we could do this. Personally, I'd like to just jump in and say that I agree with the sentiments. I think lots of people are visual learners, and to have if people want to provide graphs and data and visuals, I think that that's a great thing. Personally, I know that this commission wants to be respectful of the staff's time as well and making it as easy as possible. I know one suggestion that we had over email this afternoon was if it was easier to have those that want to present data and visuals potentially email them in prior to testifying, and then they be printed off and included in our agenda packets. But honestly, all of this comes back to the wonderful Chris Belcastro and whatever is easiest for you. I think that, I don't want to speak for the whole commission, I want to hear feedback, but I think we do want to open it up to visuals and the ability for the public to provide us with visuals, but I think we want to do so in a way that doesn't add to your stress and the work that you have to do. So, yeah.
You just have to remember, we're not going to move as quickly as we go along. You have to give me a minute to find all these people and coordinate all this together. So it might take us a little bit longer to get through all the speakers, but it is doable. And I've been doing this since the pandemic. I've become a pro at it. So, I mean, it is definitely doable.
Any other members' thoughts?
So, I'm sorry, provided the information that was shared, I am in agreement with the visuals, provided slides, but one caveat. I think that the slides should be very brief, not full of a lot of graphics, but very simplistic and to the point, because if there are multiple speakers, we want to be cognizant of everyone's time. And even if we have to put the presenters in a specific order to say 1, 2, 3, so that, Chris, you can keep the slides moving and we're not wasting time trying to figure out what slides match with what presenter, I think that would be a little bit, it would be effective to help us to eliminate potential error.
If I make them the presenter, then that eliminates that issue of me trying to coordinate. As a matter of fact, we just did that with Jude with the briefing. That was the question. Did they want to have the slideshow or did that would actually happen? They brought their laptop in and they ran through it. So they know the presentation better than I do. So I can certainly make them a presenter instead and they can run through it.
Okay, thank you.
And one thing to remember, if anybody out there that wants to do this, depending on how many people we have, if we have a a substantial amount of people that want to speak, you're going to be allotted 2 minutes. So just consider that, because slides can take up quite a bit of time.
Yeah, and I don't have an issue with that. I agree with what Commissioner Kramer said about the 2-minute time rule, so we can get as many speakers as we can taken care of in a particular evening.
All right, well, given that, can I have a motion on this subject?
I make a motion that we allow presenters to share slides with the data that they want to testify on, with Chris making them presenters and the presentations being held to a standard time frame so that we're able to keep the meeting moving if we have multiple presenters for that evening.
I will second that.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right. Motion carries.
And the only other thing I would say to wrap it up is, I don't want the public or anyone in the audience to get the wrong impression. We tend to default to 3 minutes, and everyone, I think, knows that. But as Mr. Kramer explained, if we have a lot of people signed up, we generally, for all the public hearings the council does, and I would think this might be in the same realm, we at least reserve the right to knock it down to 2 minutes just to make sure everybody gets an even chance.
Yeah, and it'll very much be a play it by ear to the night of the hearing. All right, so let's move on. Now we're going to start discussing the drafting of plans. And I think I speak for everybody on this commission when I say it's a lot easier in our minds than easier in actual practice. To facilitate some discussion, I shared a plan that I'm not saying is finished. This is preseason baseball for everyone that's a sports fan, okay? But it's a plan that's reasonably good. My only real hang up at this point is the districts are not nearly equal in population yet. There's too much of a deviation, but I figured this is as good as anything to start the discussion about what people think. And certainly, this is just my perspective. Each of the commission members will hopefully have a different perspective, but ultimately we can reach a consensus. And if anyone needs a paper copy of the plan of the commission, I brought paper copies as well. So with that said, what I tried to accomplish in drawing this up were a couple of things. The plan as adopted by the County Council on Bill 4724 had an arm from the 2nd District that extended over as far as Cockeysville. And I was not happy with that. I come from the Lutherville, Timonium, Cockeysville area, and never in the history of the County Council has Cockeysville ever been in a district so far removed from it. It had always been typically a part of what was the original District 3. So I didn't like that. I also was cognizant of the fact that we had received 2 or 3 requests from people in Reisterstown who felt that by dividing Reisterstown up and having two districts, one for the west side of Reisterstown Road, a second for the east side, was not good. And so I was respectful of that. And thirdly, just the meeting of the first, fourth, and third, I thought I could make a little bit of improvement on that as well. So with those things in mind, that's the genesis and the motivation for this plan. Again, it doesn't comply with the proper population mix between all the districts, and that's why I'm making all these disclaimers. So with that, start your engines for criticism.
Mr. Chairman, before you start,
Yes.
One thing through the training that you all are aware of, but the public might not know so much is, so Christine has put the map up and she has as you'll notice, it has crosshatches, and those crosshatches represent kind of the comparison from your map to the 4724 map that you mentioned.
Right.
So, and Christine, can you maybe explain the differences? You don't have to, every single one, but kind of generally.
So right now on, that's all right, thank you. Right now on the map, what we see is what Tom was just saying is the cross hatching shows any difference between the commission's proposed bill for this evening, proposed plan for this evening compared to Bill 47. So any area that has a cross-hatching symbolization is a difference between the underlying district in the bill versus what is currently presented by the commission. One thing that the commission can do is they can visualize it as well as removing the transparency of the current plan and pulling back up the visual cue of the bill's plan. So when the chairman was talking about the hook that was present near Cockeysville, we can see that that was on the Bill 47 plan and that it is no longer present in the proposed plan.
It was in District 2.
Yes. Correct. Correct. So, yep, absolutely. So I'm just going to go districts 1 through 9. We can see that there is a difference between, there's a difference in District 1 right now. So per the new plan, this census area is now proposed to go in 3 when it was previously in District 1. That is the only change currently in that area. I'm going to go to the north of District 3 in a minute, but now I'm just going to focus on District 2. We can see a large change in the northern section of what is now proposed as District 2. And looking previously, that was split between 2, 3, as well as District 5. So where we see all of this hatching, where my mouse is, that is now proposed of District 2 when it was prior to 3 and 5 per my symbology change. Now I'm just going to, and then there's a northern section of 695 as well in District 2 that was prior District 5. I'm going to go to the northern section of the map, where we have District 3 currently proposed, where that section was previously District 5. And then the edge of the currently proposed District 4, where we see the hatching, was previously District 3. Same with this north-south corridor. It just changed from 3 and 4.
Thank you. I just wanted to kind of, because we may go through this in other maps. Just kind of wanted everybody to know what that cross-hatching represented. Thank you.
So this is the first time that I'm seeing this, which makes sense because this is when you would propose ideas. So these are just off the cuff thoughts that I have. The first thing that I want to do is I want to thank you, Eric, for getting us started, because it's really important that it's really hard if we are just all in our own brains drawing lines and creating maps. And so to have something on paper that we can work from and start to discuss our ideas is vital. So Eric, thank you for pulling this together and putting it forward. Of the changes that we've seen, it looks like the bulk of the changes will be impacting the west side of the district when it comes to what was proposed by the council and the changes that were made here in this draft. Personally, I know that we wanted some more concrete ideas today. I would like the time to sit down with my fellow commissioners on the west side to come up with an idea that works for the west side. Taking a look at this, it is slicing and dicing up the western side of the district. I can see a number of communities where the lines are cutting them up in 3 places. And so I think having those discussions with the people that live on the ground or in the community to draw up a western side map, I think is really important, and was just having discussions about with one of my fellow commissioners about coming together to do that. What I do want to throw out there about some thoughts that I have been having, because I know a lot of us have sat down and we've started drawing these maps, and we do not have an easy job. You move one line, it impacts the next district, which impacts the next one, and then all of a sudden you are on the other side of the county, impacting their deviations and also trying to meet all the goals that we've lined out, along with every community organization that has come forward to put forward ideas. But there is one draft map that I see as a decent starting point, and at least for the west side of the county, I think would be a good place for us to start. I think we can hit on a lot of the goals that have been brought forward by the communities, and that is the Woodlawn approach. I don't think the full-on Woodlawn approach is going to be what prevails on the western side of the county, but I think it's a good starting point for us to overlay some of the feedback that we've received from the community. So I'll leave that there, and again, would just like to have the opportunity to sit down with the commissioners on the western side of the district to try and pull together ideas.
And I would like to echo what Commissioner Belcastro stated, to have opportunity to review from the west side of what we've looked at from the Woodlawn approach, because I echo the fact that you move one line and you really have kind of severed communities that have been tied together and work so closely together. So it's a lot to give consideration to. Obviously, we all know that, and we know that not every person is going to be happy, as Commissioner Belcastro and I mentioned, but I think it lends an ear to something significant to let us have the opportunity to kind of look at that Woodlawn approach to see how we can lay in information that has been shared, and if we have other thoughts surrounding especially this part of District 1. So thank you.
One, sorry. One thing, is it on? Okay. One thing to keep in mind is when you do go to create a West Side map, how far that goes to the central part of the county, kind of, that line of where you say, okay, this and west of it is the West Side, has an impact on exactly how easy it is to mesh, say, this draft map from Eric and a draft map that you guys get. So for example, I think in Eric's draft map, Falls Road is kind of above the Beltway. Falls Road is kind of a boundary. I know, in the I-83 is also kind of a natural dividing point. I mean, it's not natural, but you know what I mean. So it's just something to consider, and to make your lives easier the next time when you go to mesh these two ideas.
Yeah, and I'd add, Adam, not only Falls Road, but any of the major roads around the county, for that reason, many times divide communities and just seems to be a natural starting or ending place.
Another thing that I want to elevate just for the entire commission, because it does impact all of us when we're drawing the lines. A lot of the goals that we are looking to achieve as a commission are going to be met on the West Side. If we're looking to comply with the Voting Rights Act, if we're looking to ensure that we have diverse representation on our Baltimore County Council, while also being respectful of the communities on the West Side, we are going to have to go in on the West Side with a scalpel in order to do that work. And that might impact some of the lines, not substantially from what I've drawn up, but it might impact some of the ideas that you have on the East Side. And so you have more people, and this is my opinion, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but what I believe is to be more flexibility on the East Side than we do on the West Side. And so ask for that grace as we do go in with a scalpel on the West Side, and things start to move. Just be open to some of that work as well. So thank you.
Can we open up the commissioner's proposed map again? I just want to see from a larger view what part of District 1 is being suggested to move into District 3. No, not for right now. I just had a hard time seeing. I thought it was a section of 1.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. See, I can't see it on here either.
Like it's Security Square Mall and the neighborhood right underneath of it, kind of bounded by 695 and Rolling Road. It's bounded by 695, 695 on the east part of it and Rolling Road on the west.
Eric, would it be okay to pull up I am interested in taking a look at the Woodlawn approach and also learning about the goals on the east side. I'm not as familiar with them. Would it be okay if we pulled up the Woodlawn approach and had a discussion about if it aligns with the goals of those on the east side, and if it doesn't, how we can make it better? One of the things I noticed is I think it does a good job keeping the waterfront communities together, which I thought we discussed is a point of importance. But outside of that, I'm not really familiar with what's important to the east side, and would just love to hear if this aligns with your views. And yeah, would love to hear your thoughts on the Woodlawn approach.
In the new District 8, District 9, or the Middle River Essex area and Dundalk areas, they pretty much are going to stay somewhat, the same. There's going to be a few differences, but the biggest thing that through emails that we've received is the Perry Hall, Kingsville area being separated from White Marsh. I mean, I know we got at least probably 60 emails from that area.
Yeah, and I'll echo that too, just in my conversation with community members and some community associations I attended. Want to keep that Perry Hall. I think the Woodlawn approach pulls a lot of that very northern district down into Kingsville, and really all the information I got, plus the emails that we all see, we want to keep Kingsville, Perry Hall, and White Marsh together. That was a big concern there. Not really too much of a concern down in the new proposed District 8 and 9 on the waterfront. I mean, that's pretty, we can always do a little bit of tweaking up on that northern end of District 9 if we need it to. I've been playing with that. I know I talked to Commissioner Kramer about that too, about trying to play with that a little bit and see what we can do.
I'm sorry, can you give me, I am not familiar with the east side of the county. Can you show me the area that you're talking about? That would help me a bit. Okay.
Kingsville, right here.
So you want all of that in one district?
That and White Marsh down in District 7 you have? That's the Woodlawn cleanup, correct? Yes.
So this is Pulaski Highway,
Oh.
Philadelphia, and 95.
It would be super helpful to me, or Eric, maybe in what you've proposed, that's what it is, to see lines of a perfect scenario for you guys over there. Is that drawn up yet?
I started working on one. I actually share a plan, but it's not finished yet. But I did start working on a plan. The only thing with District 7, I'm going to have a lot of, I need to make some changes because it's way too large. I mean, it's 3,000 over compared there, and on the District 4 is, and that's one thing, on that one plan there, District 4 was 2,039 down off there, but I know we have the deviation we can do, so that's fine. But the District 7 was, I haven't done anything really on the west side. And I spoke to you about that. I mean, I'm just, yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm having.
Yeah.
So the
One thing I did do is in regards to District 2, the Cockeysville area, I removed that and I'm starting to play with numbers. Like 6 here, I'm thinking about taking some of 7 off the Kearney area there. Because it's close to Parkville. Kearney, Parkville, they work together. Same way with Parkville and the Towson area. They're in communities have been working together for a long time. So, I mean, there's just so much, and somebody's not going to be happy. I do know that.
So one of the things that I'll lift up one more time is, and maybe I'm being biased because I live on the west side, but I don't think I am. I think this is rooted in logic. Because of everything, a lot of the goals that we're looking to achieve, again, are going to come from the west side. It's my opinion that we have to work from the west side over. Ooh, that's okay, no worries. As opposed to the east side over. And so I actually think there is going to be some convergence around districts, around the Kingsville area. So that's why it would be super, at least for me, super helpful to see what your best case scenario is.
Are you saying Kingsville?
Kingsville, yeah, that's what yeah. Yeah.
Blair Road,
Yeah.
Blair Road to Hartford.
Yeah.
It's a Kingsville area, and Perry Hall
margins-
under there.
Once you achieve, if you're looking to keep communities together on the west side and achieve the diversity goals that we're looking to achieve, there really isn't much room to move at all on the west side. And so that's why I think a lot of the movement is going to converge around that Kingsville area on the east side as well. And I actually think that there's more flexibility over there, but I'll leave it at that.
I do want to say is there is one small hazard from the way we are doing it. If you, for example, if you start with the template of Bill 4724, there are some small areas that we had to massage based on population. And the best example is that, well, really, the only example that I have I just want to point out is in District 6. And it's these 2 spots right here. Traditionally, Charles has been the boundary. And if you left Charles at the boundary, District 6 was just too big. But you know, as you're going through this, I just wanted you to be aware that's why this was pure, just trying to get District 6 within the population boundary. So don't feel like that is, if you use the Bill 4724 template, don't feel like these have to stay in there if you're changing that district in other ways. Does that make sense? Yeah, and you know, considering that Charles has always been the boundary there, it might be beneficial to think of it as let's restore that, and then, you know, think about the district in that way. There might have been some others around the county, but I think that was the most obvious one where it was an adjustment purely based on population.
I have one nerdy sort of question for Christine. Okay. In the plan that I submitted, under the review tab, plan distribution, I looked at the over 18 voting age population for Black non-Hispanics, and the table that is at the bottom of the map page showed different numbers than the pie chart showed for percentages.
So depending what your demographic, your district table looks like at the bottom, when I first opened this plan, all of the demographic fields are turned on. You might possibly be looking at the overall demographic data versus the voting age.
Okay.
So I would recommend turning those fields off to help with viewing to make sure that
Okay.
you're looking at the correct one.
That probably explains it. Yeah, thank you. Do we have any final thoughts on this before I turn the meeting to the subject of whether we should be holding the virtual public hearing next week or not?
I think it's hard to think that, I do think we need to figure out a deadline for when we are going to propose a draft map. It's hard to figure out how we get there, but I do feel like we need to start moving on it.
Yeah.
I also think and would ask of the public to be understanding with the first iteration of this draft map. I think it is the hope and wish of this commission that we get it right. But that draft map might not, it's going to be a draft. It's definitely not going to be perfect. And also, you know, we are doing our best to learn a software that we just got trained up on last week. And we also understand that there is an aggressive timeline that we're on, and we need to move this work forward. So with that being said, I do think we need to pick a date, and I think we do need to figure out how to get there, and we need to stick to it so that we can keep the work moving.
Chairman, if I can, I do echo Commissioner Castro just said, is it possible that we may potentially just have another week so that the iteration that we reviewed today and the conversations that some of us would like to have just to look at, especially the west side, that we can try to have that conversation to get a little bit more intelligence and some thought sharing, if possible. And then potentially by the end of the month to plan for the first public meeting, again, if possible.
That seems very possible, and I'd like John and Ed to comment about that before we make some decision.
Well, let's face it, we're definitely not going to have a plan ready for next Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think we got a better chance of walking outside with a blizzard right now, but let's be honest. So yes, we need to move something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, we had this Friday as tentatively when we're going to have that draft done, and I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, that's a good start, Commissioner Rockel, that you sent that out. It's a good starting point for us to work on, but like Commissioner Belcastro said, the west side's going to need a lot of work, probably more than the east side, even though we can tweak the east side, but, you know, relying on the commissioners from the west side to give us a hand with that and to come up with some proposals. But I think it's a good starting point that you did get a product out there to us. Again, when we say draft map, it's not going to be the final map. You know, if we wait to the end of the month, the middle of the month, it's still going to be a draft map. It's not the final map. So that's what we got to make sure that the public understands, that it is a draft map and we're working towards a final map, you know, at our deadline. So, but it's a good starting point where we are today. At least we have a product up that we can start tweaking, working a little bit more, but it's going to be important that we get the feedback from the West Side commissioners. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. With regard to that, Lisa, are you comfortable that by next Wednesday I won't say you've got things finalized on the west side, but you can get together with other commissioners and start that process?
So that, is Commissioner Grant on the call? It's okay.
No, it's just Commissioner Davis.
Michelle Davis. So I don't want to speak for Commissioner Grant.
No, nor would I.
Yeah. I think we should set a deadline for the draft, for our work on the west side and a draft map today. And I think that we should be held to it. I think I'd like the whole week next week. We could say Friday, that takes us into Easter Sunday. Not everyone celebrates that. Do we want to say the 22nd? We need to have the draft map completed. And that actually means coordination between all of us. So what I will commit to is doing what I can to get the west side coordinated and done by the 16th. And then that will be shared with the rest of the commission to figure out how we plug in your recommendations for the east side into what we come up with. And then hopefully that can be published by the is the 22nd a good target for getting the draft map out?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. I say that because some people may get off on Monday.
I can agree with that. I'm in agreement with that.
Your thoughts, Mr. Boswick?
One question would be, do you want one map, or do you want the public and yourselves to be able to consider more than one map? Just something to throw out there, because in a way, having multiple maps is probably easier in the sense of, you know, you can have various possibilities, but the flip side to that is if you as a commission can at least tentatively agree on one map, then, you know, then you've really gone a long way in your work. So I didn't mean to throw that out there as a difficulty, but I just thought you should consider that.
Personally, sorry, go ahead.
The only thing I would caution is every draft map that you publish should be a complete map. You don't want to get in a situation where you say, okay, this is a half completed map of the east side and a half completed map of the west side.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Just want to make sure.
Just thinking through it, if we are looking to put out multiple iterations of a draft map, I don't think we get that. I don't think that happens by the 16th, at least for the west side. So personally, I think we stick to one, but if there's other commissioners that have ideas and draft maps, I actually don't think that's a problem if we put that forward. So that makes sense. If we want to work collaboratively and we coalesce around one map, I think it makes sense to put out one map. But if we are not able to come to agreement as a commission and there's a commissioner that has another map that they would like to put forward, I actually think that makes sense, putting forward multiple maps. My 2 cents.
I did just share a map that I was working on.
Yeah.
With the commission, but there's going to be some tweaks involved with it and things in that nature because, I had one even before this and I did not save it and then I lost it. So I'm going to let that go. But, like I said, I think the more maps we share while we're doing this, we can look to see where we're all at.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I'd like the idea of sharing, looking at all the different, internally with the commissioners, but I'm really torn with having one map. I think putting one map out there to comment on, that way we're not going to have multiple issues. And I think it would be beneficial and probably quicker to do one map if we all share our ideas instead of coming up with multiple maps, because that's going to be a real, I don't want to say it's hard, but it's a heavy lift to do a map, meeting all the parameters and everything and putting that in. So that's just going to be time consuming. I think if we share maps like we got this one share today, that's a good starting point, and everybody else shares and works on something, come back and reconvene and say, hey, this looks good, and tweak this and tweak that, but come up with one map, and then that way we have comments on one map. Again, I'll just reiterate, it's not the final map. It's going to be a draft map when we do the public hearing, so it's not the final map.
So given what I've heard, I'd like to propose to the commission that we, number one, scrap the virtual public hearing for next Wednesday. Number two, we meet in person next Wednesday here in the hearing room. And three, that we all agree to come up with, I won't call it a final product, but a map or maps that we're comfortable with by the 22nd.
I think that makes sense, and I'll commit, treading lightly because I don't want to speak for Commissioner Grant, but I'll commit to doing the best I can to pull together the West Side and have a product that we can present at the meeting on Wednesday.
Okay.
Commissioner Davis, just again, want confirmation from you that you're on board with Wednesday.
Yeah, that's fine. We can, however we need to meet. I don't know if you want to meet in person or virtually or whatever, we can plan to do that. And if possible, if we can try for earlier in the week. I just don't have any more bandwidth this week.
Yep, you got it. I'll reach out to you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I've made a long-winded motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Does the staff feel comfortable with that sort of timeline?
Is that the 23rd you're talking?
Yeah.
Well, 22nd, you got a hearing.
23rd, the hearing is, or I'm sorry, the 16th, the hearing's off.
Off.
Yes. The 22nd, I thought was tentatively proposed for MAP,
Yeah, a deadline.
for publication of.
Right.
And then, so then now I think your only decision is,
So when are we meeting?
meeting on the 16th. So instead of having the public hearing, you'll have, I guess, the 7th
Yeah.
meeting of the commission.
Yeah. With the opportunity to meet on the 23rd, depending on what the shape of the quote semifinal product is.
Right, because the 22nd won't be a meeting per se.
No,
Just
yeah.
That's sort of the deadline. that you're
Deadline,
setting
right?
to
Yes.
submit the maps, or a map.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 20, and then, so then I think your decision, so you're talking about also having a meeting on the 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
And then your next task is to decide when to have the public hearing. Mr. Phillips and I were talking maybe either the 28th, based on the council's schedule, because the council is now going to be in its budget season.
Right.
The 28th is open, that's a Monday, and the 30th is open in the evening for the public hearing. I don't know about the first. The following week. So the 28th, the 30th, or the 1st would be potential dates for the public hearing. And remember, that's a virtual hearing too.
Mm-hmm.
I think all that, I think the 30th, I propose the 30th for the public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we stick to it. I think it's time that we move forward. Yeah.
Rubber has to hit the road
Yeah.
at some point.
Yeah, I think we're
right?
there. I think we're there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any other discussion anyone wants to bring up?
Commissioner, I just have one question. Are we going to loop in Commissioner Harris and Grant, or are we just going to rely on the email thread? I think it's important to touch base with them to emphasize what we're doing so that they can be prepared and or, you know, try to adjust their schedules if necessary, considering the time frame that's ahead of us.
Yeah, I would reach out to both of them with that question.
Okay, thank you.
And just so everyone knows, you know, anything that we can help with facilitating that, you know, if anything at all, we're here to help.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we'll look at our May schedule next time we meet.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can talk about that.
Yeah.
'Cause I know we want to do that other public hearing.
We've got two public
in,
hearings we want to do in May. Yeah.
For the public hearings, are we still talking in person, Eastern County and Western County?
Yes.
Yes, I would say.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any final thoughts? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Good
Bye.
night.